What's going on YouTube? This is IPSEC. I'm doing Heist from HackTheBox, which was marked as a easy box. I think it'd be bumped up to a medium, mainly because it either requires a really strong foundation or some legacy knowledge. For instance, it doesn't really guide you down the path to do a RID brute forcing attack to enumerate local users on the box, and if you search around for that type of attack and don't know the name of it, you can get overshadowed by the heaps of attacks about Active Directory, like just running git AD user, bloodhound, etc. It's really hard to find blog posts on the lesser known Impacket tools like lookupsids.py. So unless you knew to do RID brute forcing, it's hard to use Google to go down that path. Additionally, dumping the memory from Firefox isn't that straightforward when you want to use like procdump64.exe and it doesn't exist on the box, so you have to know to download a tool, upload the tool, and then run it. A lot of the steps just aren't intuitive to run, I think, in this box. But that being said, I really like the box and all the password spraying. It's super realistic and a fun box, and I think a great one to learn from. So let's just jump in. As always, we begin with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it heist, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.149. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just 3 ports open. The first one being HTTP on port 80. Its banner tells us it's Microsoft IIS. It's telling us that the IIS version is 10.0, which is Windows 10 or 2016. If you didn't know that, you could just go over to Google and search IIS versions, and then go down to the Microsoft link. And this will tell us that like version 1.0 would be Windows NT 351 SP1, or 7.0 is 2008, 7.5 2008 R2, or 8.0 is 2012. It looks like this page hasn't been updated since 2017, so 10.0 isn't here, but they skipped 9 because I believe like regular expressions, because you used to have like Windows 98 or 95, so if they did 9, there may be just a regular expression that hits 95, 98. So they just skip that altogether to go to 10. I think that makes sense. If not, think about it a little more, or Google why they skipped 9. There's a bunch of reasons. Anyways, let's get back to this. We have the HTTP-cookie flags, and PHP session ID is being set, which is a bit unique because this means that the Windows web server is running PHP. Generally, it runs like ASP or something. Going down a little further, we have the HTTP-title telling us that login.php was requested. So combining this file name with this cookie and it being Microsoft kind of says this is most likely a Windows server running PHP, unless there's a big deception campaign and one of those things is just a flat-out lie. Generally doesn't happen. Next thing we have is MSRPC running on port 135. Then we have Microsoft-DS ? Because Nmap can't 100% verify this is SMB, running on 445. So I'm guessing like anonymous or null authentication is disabled, so it can't really identify this port. We have a clock skew of 51 minutes, so either my machine or the server is way off in time. Then this SMB2 security mode says message signings enabled but not required. And in order to exploit this, you need multiple machines because it's something called an NTLM relay where you relay an authentication packet. Since this is HackTheBox and it's only a single machine, we can probably ignore that. So let's go over and just check out the website because that has the largest attack surface. So going back to Firefox and going to 10.10.10.149, we get this login page. So I'm just going to try like admin, and it wants us to enter an email address, and we don't even know the hostname of this box yet. If anonymous authentication was enabled for SMB, it would probably run some SMB scripts to tell us the hostname of the box. If SSL was, then the SSL certificate would tell us the hostname, but neither of those are, so we don't even know the hostname is Heist. So don't have an email, can't really do anything, but there is this login as guest button. So clicking that brings us to what looks like a help desk page. We see the user hazard is saying he's experiencing problems with the Cisco router. Here's part of the configuration the previous admin left us. I'm new here and don't know how to fix it. So if we look at this configuration, we can see it is indeed a Cisco config, and we have 2 type 7 passwords, and type 7 are just, think of it like XOR encoded. Maybe it actually is XORed. But there's a secret key that Cisco has that deobfuscates this and reveals the password because it's not real encryption. And well, if there is a key, if you do reversible encryption, it will be broken one day. So we'll just Google Cisco Type 7 decrypt and see if we find a Python file. Maybe we can do like Python GitHub. I always hate running like the websites that decrypt it for you because they may configure it in a way that you send them the password. And I always hate sending websites my password. So when possible, I run it locally if I can think while typing. So we're here, we have the script. If we do Python Cisco T7 and then specify, I think -decrypt for this one, -d, and then the string. So going back here, type 7, decrypt this, config file. That should have worked. Let's see. -e, -p. Or, let's see, -p. There we go. So if you do -e, -p, it's going to encrypt the password. If you just do -p, it'll decrypt, and -d is default. So if you do -d, -p, it's still going to do it. So we have one password. It's super password. So I'm going to do vim passwords.txt, and I'm just going to copy this password. So copy this, paste it, and then let's go and do the other one. So going back here, go to this attachment, next one, paste, and let's see, 408, 408, 023, 023. That is what I copied. It is just a relatively good password. I don't even think that's a keyboard walk. So random password there. Then the next one we have is 5, which is a MD5 sum. So I'm going to bring this over to the Kraken. So SSH Kraken, and then we'll just go into the Hashcat directory, cd hashes. Oh, not hashes. Oh yeah, it's hashes. Ignore me sometimes. VI, we'll call this heist-cisco-md5, paste it, and then /hashcat --example hashes, grep for $1. Oh man, there's a lot of these. Let's see. Okay, only one. So the reason why I'm doing this is because Cisco is a little bit weird. I know with like ASAs, and it's a different MD5 crypt. So with this, it looks like it's fine. If we search for ASA, Cisco, grep-i Cisco. Okay. So let's do -A3. So Cisco's ASA is going to be, I believe this is the password hash and then :username. So it's a little bit unique with ASAs, but for, I guess, routers, it's straight MD5 crypt. So let's just go back here. MD5 crypt is 500. So /hashcat -m 500 hashes heist Cisco MD5, and then opt word list rocku. So we'll just throw this real quick. It shouldn't take too long at all. And there we go. It's already done. And we get the password stealth1 agent. So we can just exit this, exit, and then paste this password. So we have 3 passwords. We don't have any emails, and we don't have any usernames. So these passwords don't really do us too good. Looking at this, we have enable secret. We get the username of router and potential username of admin. That looks like a default one, but we'll do users.txt, router, admin. And then if we go back to the recent issues, we have a user called Hazard. So we can use him. And he is asking the help desk to create an account for him on the Windows server. So chances are that is true. I can't tell if support admin's the username or admin's the username or admin is a group here. So I don't know what this one is, but we have a few passwords and a few users. So what I generally like doing here is using CrackMapExec, and this will enumerate all the credentials we have. So I'll do -u and then specify either a username or a file. In this case, we have a few users, so I'm specifying a file, and then -p, same exact thing for passwords. Then I'm going to do --shares because I want the shares module, and then 10.10.10.149. And the reason why I specify the shares module is because upon a successful login, it's going to tell us or enumerate all the shares we have write access to. And if we see write access to either admin vol or cvol, it's these two, then we can follow up with the PSEXEC because that means we're local admin most likely. In this case, we don't have that access, so we can't gain it. Generally in Windows, the way an unprivileged user may have lateral movement is through Windows remoting, like a WinRM. That's port 5985, 5986. It's not on the Nmap default 1000, so you miss it if you don't do like -p dash in Nmap, but I'm just going to test for it. And the way I normally test for it is Metasploit, so msfdb run. And the reason why I like doing it through msfdb, other than just jumping straight to like a program like Evil WinRM, is because this is more like scriptable, and it also has a handy feature called the creds, so it'll save things. So if we just do use auxiliary scanner WinRM, actually, so we're doing creds. Let's do exactly what we did in Impacket. So scanner, SMB login, and then we're going to show options. And I think I want set -g because that's global. Let's do help set G. Okay, we want set G. So set G. I think maybe set -g is the same. So two ways to do it. I'm just going to do set G, user underscore file, users.txt, and then set G, pass file. This is going to be passwords.txt, and then set G, our host 10.10.10.149. I'm going to do run. And what the global did is when I switch Metasploit scripts, it's going to save those variables, hopefully. So we don't have to retype them all. So it's running and failed a lot, but we got a success with Hazard and Stealth 1 agent, just like CrackMapExec. If I do creds, it now saved that in the database for me. So I don't have to worry about logging what is successful. It saved the host, the origin, service, username, password, everything. So it comes in really handy. So if now we do use scanner, auxiliary scanner WinRM, and we want WinRM login, we do show options. Because we use the set G, we have users.txt and passwords.txt already here. Our host is already set. It's using port 5985, and we can just do run and see if we get a shell. And we got nothing. So at this case, we're kind of at a dead end. And whenever I get to a dead end, I go back into the enumeration phase. What can I enumerate more? Well, we got a login to SMB. There weren't any shares. It was just admin, IPC, and C. So I'm going to go over to Impacket. So whenever I want to find Impacket, I do locate psexec.py because I can't remember this path to save my life. And we go user share doc python3-impacket, and then examples. And I do an ls and look at what things are here. One of the things we can do is LookupSID. So if we do python3 LookupSID, a valid user, so hazard stealth1 agent at 10.10.10.149, it's going to do something called a RID Bruteforce or a SID Bruteforce, and we'll go over this manually right after this finishes, but it's going to get us a bunch more usernames. So we got hazard, support, chase, and JSON, and I don't know why it said JSON. It's JSON, not JSON, but we got a few more accounts, so let's do dash, and then after this, we'll go over exactly what this just did. So if we do VI users, so support Chase and Jason. Support Chase, and that was my email. My apologies if that sound came through. But support Chase and Jason. So let's go over exactly what a red brute force is. To do that, we're going to connect to the RPC port. So RPCClient-U hazard percent stealth1 agent. For some reason, it does percent between username password, but 10.10.10.149. And I'm just curious if this uses port 139 or SMB. So that's what I'm doing here, just a TCP dump, because I'm not positive off the top of my head. So we run this, and it looks like it's going over SMB. We search for 139. I guess one of the first packets is 139, not even the first. So in Windows, my mind, it's always SMB when you do these type of things. So if you hit tab, you get a bunch of functions you can do. The one we want is lookup names, and I'm just going to specify the default name for anything, which is administrator, and it's going to give us the SID for that account. I think that's stands for the security identifier. Essentially, I think it's always going to be like S15. S means SID. 1 is just the version, and Microsoft never changed the version, so it's always S1. I think it's normally going to be 5. It may not always be 5. Forget what these two are, but how I generally think of it is this is the domain, or wait, this is the domain, and this is the user. So the last one I always think of is the user ID, and everything before that is just domain to me. So it's not technically correct because I think it's only this that is unique to the domain, but in my mind, I only got 2. So the default user for Windows, you may hear it called the RID 500 account, is administrator. Administrator is always going to be 500. So if we do lookup names guest, you'll see that is 501. That's the second account in Windows. If you do LookupSIDs and see what the third account's going to be, so we can just copy the SID and brute force the next one up. We got to put a space after SIDs. We'll see this account is called default account. So that's essentially how brute forcing works. The very first user is generally 1000, but we have a valid username, which is hazard. So we can look at what his is. His is 1008. So we can just go on from there. So we do the LookupSIDs. Instead of 503, we can do 1008. We get hazard, 1009. We get support, 1010, unknown, 11, 12, Chase, 13, Jason, 14, 15, 16, and you can just go on to see how many accounts you can get. But that's all this RID brute force is. So when it says a max number, it's asking for what the max number you want to be here is. So we got a few more usernames. So what we're going to do is go back into Metasploit, and we're going to use the SMB exec. So SMB login, and then just do run because we updated a user.txt file with the new usernames. So we just do this and we'll see if we get anything new. It's now doing the hazard user. And we get another user, Chase. So what I'm going to do is switch back to WinRM, and to speed this up, I'm just going to create valid users.txt, and I'm going to do Chase. Actually, we don't have to do that. We can just do show options, and then set username Chase, and run. So we get a valid login with WinRM, and it's going to go on and do the username file next. We could just Control-C to stop that. But we see the WinRM told us that Chase can log in. So we now have a low priv shell. So to log into WinRM, I'm going to just use a program called Evil WinRM. And the reason why I'm not logging it, because I did creds and it's already logged it. And we even got the WinRM logged. It says it's HTTP because it just doesn't know that's WinRM, but yeah, that's how it logs WinRM and Metasploit. So let's do GitHub. So GitHub evil-winrm. And we can just copy this, cd opt, git clone, cd evil WinRM. It's a Ruby file, so Ruby evil WinRM. And we can install something. So I'm just going to do bundle install. It didn't work. Let's just cat the gem file. And then gem install WinRM, WinRM-fs, colorize, and string il. So we're just going to install all the dependencies. This is the same as like pip install for Python. So we got them all. Now we can do Ruby evilwinrm.rb, and we can see how to use this. So -u, -p, and IP. Easy enough. So Ruby, or -i for IP. So U, it was Chase, I think. -p. Let's go grab his password. So Ruby evil WinRM, U Chase, P that. I'm going to put this in single quotes because we have a backslash and a asterisk, so who knows how that's going to get interpreted. So doing it in single quotes makes sure it gets interpreted how we want it. 10, 10, 10, 149. And let's get a login shell if we're lucky. There we go. And we see we're in the documents folder. We can do GCI for get child items. It's just PowerShell way of doing the dir. You could also do ls. There's 100 ways to list directories. I do GCI. But I'm going to get out of the documents directory, and then we'll do GCI-recurse. So I go into every directory, and then I'm going to do a period, and then pipe this and do select full name, and that's just going to list all the files. So we got links, downloads, nothing really other than user.txt and to-do.txt. So if I go to desktop, we can do, I think, GC for get content on to-do.txt. There we go. You can also do the shell way of type, birth work. Stuff to do, keep checking the issues list, fix the router config. There's nothing really here. So I'm going to go up to directories, do a dir. We got other users. So hazard has a directory. If we do hazard, do a dir, we get a permission denied. So nothing really there. If we were in like Cobbler or something, we could potentially like make a token for this user and try switching to him and then going into that directory. But with just this evil WinRM, I don't think we can do that easily. So let's think of another way. There was a web server, so let's enumerate the files there. So inetpub, cd www. If you're confused what Cobbler is, it's just a C2 framework in .NET. I'm sure if you go to ipsec.rocks, you can find various things on it. So cd www root, do a dir. We get a permission denied, so we can't list files in here. If we go back to Firefox and look at the files, issues.php. So if we do gc issues.php, we can get the file. So we can read what this is. There's also a login.php. And I'm just looking at the source to see if there's anything we missed. So we got cookie for admin and guest. Nothing really there. If we type login.php, let's see, we get login usernames, admin, and hash, SHA-256, request login password is equal to this SHA-256 hash. So we get a SHA-256 hash. We go to like hashes.org and search for it to see if it's a known thing. We could also send this into Hashcat, but I don't think I'm going to crack this one. So, and okay, it's not case sensitive. But hashes.org doesn't know it, so I'm just going to move on. And the reason why I was trying to get access in this directory is because maybe there's a config file that has another password, or if I can write to a file, then I can escalate to this user and potentially do like rotten potato or something, or juicy potato. So I want to get to that IIS user is what I'm doing here. So we echo test to see if we can write here. We can't. There is also this attachments directory. So if I do cd attachments, we can do GCI here. And we see there is config.txt. This is that Cisco router that we started out at. If we type to echo test to test, we can't write here. So this is probably going to be a dead end. And we can't write to like login.php or anything. So we don't have any write access in this directory, so we can't drop a shell script and then execute it to gain access. I also didn't see any vulnerabilities in the PHP code we looked at. So that's a bust. If we do GCI at the root, we could go into like program files and do GCI. And at this point, we realize Firefox is installed. That's not a normal thing. So we could go and check if it's running with git-process and then look at all the processes on this box. A lot of SVC host, holy crap. And we see a few Firefox processes. So the first one is 4656. So that'd be the one I go for, but probably want to enumerate all these if we don't see anything. So vim ffpid.txt paste. Okay. That's where I was. Okay. So in order to dump that process, we need to use a sysinternal tool called procdump. And you could do it with PowerShell. You could do it 100 ways. There's a bunch of ways to dump processes on Windows. I like doing sysinternals because it's a Microsoft signed binary, which means it generally works and doesn't set off as many flags. So zip. So we go here and download the suite. Its license prohibits redistribution. It wants you to download it from Microsoft's website, so I don't think it's bundled in Kali or anything. We can exit Metasploit at this point. We should have probably used Metasploit to get a WinRM shell potentially. I wonder if it has that option. I've never really done it. We can move downloads. What is it? What it download as? Sysinternal suite. Here, make the sysinternals, and then unzip the suite, and we got everything. So at this point, we can upload it. So let's go to users. We are Chase. We'll go in documents, and we can upload root, HTTP, boxes, Heist, sysinternals, and procdump 64.exe. And this will take a little bit to upload, and once it's uploaded, we can dump the process. There we go. So /procdump64.exe. It wants us to accept the EULA. We can do it through the command line. Be aware that this creates a registry entry on the box. So if they've never used sysinternals before, there's a forensic artifact there. And if you're curious, always monitor your boxes for that registry entry to see when people are using sysinternals. We want to do the -MA flag to write a full dump file. So we'll do procdump64.exe -ma and cat ffpid. We'll do 4656 first. And notice we didn't have to do the except EULA flag. If we do procdump64.exe-h, it works because that registry entry set. But if we do dir, we see it created that file, firefox whatever.dump, and we can just download this. So download, paste. It'll probably take even longer to download because the dump file is much bigger than procdump64. So I'm just gonna pause the video while this downloads. So this has been going on quite some time, probably almost 10 minutes, and it's still not done. So I'm just gonna see if the information I seek is here. So it's saving to opt Evil WinRM. Do a ls, we can see that dump file is there. And the reason why I knew that is because we cd'd to that directory before running this program. We can see the dumps 054901.dmp going here, and same thing. So what I'm going to do is just strings the Firefox binary, and, or not binary, but process, and just dump its memory. If we grep for like HTTP, oh, we get a lot. So that is a lot. So maybe grep for password, and we get still quite a bit. So let's do less and go down where it is. So I just type /password. Did I type that? There we go. So now it's going to highlight, and right at the very top, we can see login username admin at support.htb, and login is equal to this. So we could test this off real quick by going to 10.10.10.49. See, my session is dead. So admin at, what is it? support.htb, and then paste the password, and we get logged in as that user. There's no additional features, but we got the username of admin. We already had that saved in user.txt, but we don't have the default account, which is administrator. That's the RID 500 account. So we can go back. Do we still have Metasploit open? We closed it when we did PSEXEC. So what we'll do is CrackMapExec because it's just going to be quicker. So CrackMapExec -u users p passwords --shares 10.10.10 149, and we'll see if we get any valid logins. And it's not looking like it. Let's see. Did I paste that password correctly? I think I did. So, CrackMapExec by default stops after the very first login. I forget the flag. Let's just do msfdb run. And we'll do the WinRM module. So WinRM set user file users.txt. I can probably just do pass file or host. I'm just hitting Control R, and it has recursive history. So run. We'll see if we get any new hits. I don't think it's doing the new password. V passwords.txt. It was not. I think I just entered it in user.txt. That would definitely help. So we do this, and we get a login success as administrator. So what we can do is a WinRM as him, but we could probably do a PSEXEC if he has access over CVol or admin vol. So CrackMapExec. Do this now that we have the password and password.txt and logged in. It's telling us pwned. Let's see if it gets the shares. It normally says pwned when you have a shell. And we have read write to admin and C. So we should be able to do PSEXEC-U administrator and then 1010, I think it's just PSEXEC. That's not my path. Let's go locate PSEXEC.py, cd here, and then Python 3 PSEXEC administrator at 10.10.10 149, and then paste this password. Requesting share, found writable, uploading, opening, creating, and we should get the shell very soon. There we go. If we go cd / users administrator dir, a little slow. Probably should have done the PowerShell module, but cd desktop dir root.txt. It's 32 bytes, so there you have it. Pretty sure we can read this. I'll actually test it to make sure there's no like encrypted file system with Cypher. We do a type. There we go. It does read it. So that's the flag. Hope you guys enjoyed the box. Take care, and I will see you all next week.